the pause year. I want to continue this conversation about the Sixers pause year from yesterday because I think it's a really interesting topic that scares a lot of people, but it's not as scary as people think it is. The term pause scares them, but you don't understand what it is. We got to talk LeBron James for a little bit and what he did last night, and also how no one on this Sixers team is remotely close to that level of guts and determination. Not playing skill, guts and determination. Phillies on the docket, Eagles, NFL rule changes, trending in the AM. It's going to start in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Like, subscribe, turn the notifications on, share, and shout it from the rooftops. The number one morning show in Philadelphia, the only place where your opinions actually matter. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, and we've got lots on the docket today. Sixers, Phillies, pause years, Thursday night football rule changes. So much on the agenda, and I'm joined by my main man, first time here on the Philadelphia Sports Network.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's my second time here on.
Oh, you've been on the show. I thought this is the first time I brought you on since the new change.
No,
welcome back, Cole Thompson.
Yeah. Come on, Phil. We know this. They know me. And trust me, the longtime viewers definitely know me.
Absolutely,
twice a week last summer.
Yeah, that is true. Hey, summertime as a college kid is always a lot of fun. You've got a fun summer of partying going on. Me, when I was in college, I spent my summers working my ass off.
Oh, trust me. When I'm not having fun, it is all work, all business. It's one of those. That's just how it is. I'm either working or I'm having fun. I don't have much downtime.
But you're young and you're 20, going to be 21, exactly. And you've got the energy level. Me, if I stayed up till like 10:30 last night, and I'm going to drag all day today.
Exactly. Hey. I gotta do while you can.
Yeah, you got, and hey, maybe the reason I'm so dragging nowadays is because I lived a life like you, so hard back in the day. So maybe
the same way.
Exactly. All right, so Cole, we got lots on the docket today. We got lots to talk about. I want to talk about the Sixers pause year, and it's a phrase that got dropped by Spike Eskin, a couple days ago. But I had already been talking about taking a step back to take two forward as my philosophy for this offseason. And it's scaring a lot of people. And we've been talking about it on the show a lot because people think that a pause year means a rebuild. A pause year means we're going to win 25 games. A pause year does not mean that. A pause year means let's just not go all in for any random superstar to try another pairing with Joel Embiid. A pause year means, all right, let's try to win games. Maybe, rest Joel Embiid a little bit more to extend that window a touch. A pause year means develop Tyrese Maxey a little bit more and not experiment with him coming off the bench. A pause year means rebuilding the culture and the organizational culture and philosophies of the team. But as long as you have Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, you're still going to win 45 games and make the playoffs. And as you see, once you get to the playoffs, anything can happen. Do you get scared when you hear that word pause year, or do you understand what a pause year really means?
Listen, so a pause year for the Sixers would mean that we don't expect them to get past the second round. They probably will end up losing in the second round again, but I think it depends. I'm indifferent about it. I think it depends because there's a lot of valuable, solid role players the Sixers can grab and help build around Joel Embiid. Uh-huh. If the right superstar, especially Damian Lillard, becomes available, you make the move while you can. If it's Damian Lillard available, you make the move for Damian Lillard.
But see, that's the thing. So the Damian Lillard thing, you know me, I'm a Dame time guy. I love Damian Lillard. He's my favorite non-Sixer basketball player in the NBA. James Harden's 33, going to be 34. And we got him when he was 32, about to be 33. At what point are you just going all in again for another superstar in the back half of their career?
Well,
Dame Lillard gets injured just as much as Dame Lillard misses games with hamstrings and knees. and playing hard and stuff. Like, are you really going to trade Tyrese Maxey for one more 2-year window of maybe?
Sure. Because here's the thing. Once Joel Embiid starts to decline, he's done. You're not going to be able to win a championship. You don't want to waste years where you have a potential to be a championship contending roster again. James Harden didn't put up 70 the year before, have a 70-point game the year before we got him. He didn't. Damian Lillard just had a 70-point game. Damian Lillard really hasn't missed a beat since he got to the level he was at. He hasn't really missed a beat. All in all, I think that unless it's Damian Lillard, I'm okay with the pause year. That's one of the only people I'll trade Tyrese Maxey for. But you can't pass up a guy like Damian Lillard because I don't know what other player of that caliber is going to be available in the next few years.
So I want to jump back here to Johnny's comment about Joker. He's obviously talking about Nikolai Jokic and that Western Conference Final. And the only thing that Nikolai Jokic, you know me, I like to mess up names as much as possible. Don't call me out on it. Joker. So here's the thing. Like, he played phenomenal this entire playoff so far, the Joker. Dame Lillard, I was talking with you before the show about what this Sixers team misses, and it's not the Joker. It's what the Lakers had and LeBron James. And I think Dame Lillard would bring that. I mean, you watched last night. It's a game 4. They're about to get swept. LeBron James, 38 years old, goes out there and plays the full 40 minutes. What did he score? 40 points last night. Oh, I had his box.
He was 1 assist short of a 40-point triple double at 38 years old.
10 rebounds, 9 assists. He dropped 4 threes. I mean, the guy had a couple steals. Only had 1 turn. He played 48 minutes and had 1 turnover last night. And that's just that killer mentality that there is literally not even Joel Embiid. Like, we just watched what the Sixers did in Game 6 and 7. And there's not one person even remotely. Obviously, nobody's on LeBron James, skill set level, but just the desire, the determination, the Mamba mentality to never give up. This Sixers doesn't have it. And, I don't watch a lot of NBA basketball after the Sixers get eliminated because I get frustrated. But I was locked into LeBron James last night.
Yeah.
Because that is just something special right there that we witnessed last night.
Listen, you brought the perfect guy on. Because outside of our Philly sports realm, the biggest LeBron James stan is me. In the Philly sports, it's me. I love LeBron James. He's my favorite basketball player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
What we saw from LeBron James last night was a vintage LeBron James game, except we saw Father Time get him at the end. He was gassed. He is 38 years old, and his second best player is a walking granola bar who gets hurt all the time and is inconsistent. Although Anthony Davis did play pretty well yesterday, LeBron James did everything he could to win that game. He just ran out of gas. He just ran out of gas against a great team. LeBron had a very good series outside of shooting the 3. The only thing he struggled with this series was shooting the 3. If the Sixers had if you put LeBron James on the Sixers, they would be in the NBA. They would be in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I mean, but see, and that's the thing though. It's not just the skill set. It's the personality. It's the mentality. Yeah. And that's why, Marshawn saying, I need the pause year. I don't know if going all in for Dame Lillard right now is even worth it because, he's going to bring you that Mamba mentality to an extent. But this team is broken so much in so many different places. It's not like you've got to strip it down and start the whole process over again. But you got to change the whole organizational philosophy and mentality. And as a coach, because we're going to get a new coach. And obviously Nick Nurse is getting interviewed this week. Frank Vogel, there's a rumor, is being flown in this week, which I got some great Frank Vogel jokes in a bit, being brought in. Are those guys going to fix the mentality in one offseason? And are they going to turn Joel Embiid to a killer overnight?
See, my thing is, I don't know if you can turn Joel Embiid into a killer. I don't think he is a killer. I just don't think he is. I think the best we saw of Embiid in the playoffs was probably the year with Jimmy Butler.
Absolutely.
And he had somebody that motivated him. He had somebody else to be the killer.
Yeah.
And we thought Ben Simmons could be the killer. He obviously wasn't. Ben Simmons, loaded with talent. No need to knock it. with Joel Embiid, I just don't think he's a killer. You have to pair him up with a killer because it allows him to play a better game. If you pair him up with another like you James Harden, as talented as he is, as well as they fit together, he's not a killer either.
No.
The Sixers just don't have that killer. The Boston did. I know they're getting their
Boston doesn't anymore have that killer.
I know they're getting whooped right now, but just because you get, but there's no denying Jason Tatum was a killer in the Sixers series. Mm-hmm. He had a terrible game in Game 6, but when it mattered, he turned up, and then he had a 50 bomb in Game 7. They need to go get a killer. Damian Lillard is a killer. You get him, you pair him up with Joel Embiid. I think you have a chance to win it all. And
if you're going to do that, you got to go all in if you're going to do that. So then you got to find, the perfect coach to pair with them. I mean, obviously, I did some research. I hate the trade machine, but the NBA trade machine does do good work on, comparing salaries at work and stuff like that. And I was looking at players you could bring in for Tobias Harris. Then the thought process is you trade Tobias before the season or you wait till the deadline to trade him, whatever. But if you're going to go out and trade, Tyrese Maxey for Dame Lillard and whatever, you might as well trade Tobias Harris too right away and just probably 4-3-4.
You probably have to trade Tobias Harris in that Dame Lillard trade. You probably do.
I'm thinking I had worked out some scenarios where you get, Dame Lillard in a 3-team sign and trade,
with James Harden.
With James Harden and stuff like that. That you work like that trade that way.
But I still think the best trade for Damian Lillard, in my opinion, would be you do Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, and Jaden Springer, and then the 2 first-round picks that you have left in the next 6 years or whatever.
They can't trade a first-round pick till 2029.
Shit, that's right, because of the stepping rule. Fuck.
Yeah. So you really got to that's where the big problem is, and that's why a pause year really that big of a deal? Like, can you really just maybe find a way to get a sign and trade to get Harden out of here? So let me run some things here, Tobias. So some names that work financially, not necessarily work with draft picks and whether teams would say yes on either side or not. Somebody brought up Lauri Markkanen a couple shows ago in the comments section from Utah. Utah's probably going to try to sell. We lose James Harden no matter what. We need another ball handler on this team too. So I looked at it. Lauri Markkanen doesn't work for Tobias, but Colin Sexton and Lauri Markkanen for Tobias Harris works financially, and it gets them off of 2 big years of Markkanen's contract and 3 years of Colin Sexton's contract.
Yeah, but the Jazz aren't going to sell without value. That's not a valuable trade for them.
The thing is, are the Jazz just willing to maybe take their 2 steps back? They get Tobias and only 1 year, and then they could trade him at the deadline. They get off of all these other. So they got basically Markkanen and Sexton 2 to 3 years at $40 million almost for the 2 of them. So they get out of those contracts by doing this, and they can start their rebuild a little quicker.
I think that there's going to be better offers. There would be better offers than that. I think that they can do better than that.
Every one of these offers I get, 2 of these offers that I give you are going to be beat by other teams if they're on the table. Okay. But they
give me the one that won't be beat. Give me the one that won't be beat.
The one that won't be beat. Okay, it's with Dallas. You can get Toby. You could get somebody had said before they wanted Reggie Bullock and Maxi Kleber for Tobias, and I did it. That does not work. But you have to throw in Dave Bertans to the deal as well. So you get Bertans as a sniper off your bench. You get Reggie Bullock and Kleber as role players on this team as well. Maybe one of them, maybe Bullock actually starts. They would do it because Bullock's on the last year of his deal next year, but Kleber's still got 3 years, and Bertans is in an atrocious contract. He's got 2 years at $16 million a year left on his deal. So you're taking these bad contracts on, but you're getting 3 role players for the price of 1 that's paid as a star.
I don't hate that one. I think we might have to give up like a Jaden Springer or all of our second-round picks for it, but I don't hate that.
I did try once you throw Jaden Springer's contract in there, it doesn't work anymore. If you're taking those 3 guys, Toby's the only guy, so you'd have to throw some way. You'd have to find a draft pick to throw in there for that.
The only another potential trade this one's around James Harden. James Harden for Jalen Green. I'd love it.
Well, that's a Houston trade, and that brings up a very tough conversation. That why would Houston trade with the Sixers? Like they don't need to trade for James Harden. They have $60 million in cap space. They could just sign him. They have no motivation to make a trade with the Sixers.
Unless, I mean, you could see it could be a sign and trade situation. It could be a sign and trade situation. But I know what you mean. You're right.
Why would they do the sign and trade? I mean, so normally when you do a sign and trade, there's one major reason: dollars. And the difference between a max contract on a sign and trade versus a non-sign and trade is a full year and normally like $40 or $50 million. James Harden can only sign a 4-year deal either way, whether it's here and a sign and trade or there, and there's a whole $9 million difference.
You're right.
In the contract. So right. James Harden going to force Houston to do a sign and trade to get $9 extra million? No. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think, I mean, there is the rumor that maybe there is some tampering going on and some collusion going on with Houston. Maybe the
rumor.
He's
agreed. It's reported he's agreed to sign, and we're not even know what the finals. That's as tampering as it gets.
So this is an interesting thing. So Johnny says he's using this term hot, Boston for heart. Basically, how do you get players? He's basically asking, how do you keep the same players, but then get them to play with heart? Okay. So here's the thing. Say we bring it back. Bring back James Harden. Bring back Tyrese Maxey Jones. Run it straight back. Can Nick Nurse, can Frank Vogel, can Budenholzer or Williams or any of these coaches, Mike D'Antoni, get these guys to play with heart?
I think Nick Nurse can.
You think Nick Nurse can? What do you have to do to get these guys to be convinced to play with this heart?
I just think it's just Nick Nurse has done it. Nick Nurse has done it. He did it with the Raptors. He won a championship with the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
Like,
with
I know
Kawhi Leonard and a bunch of young wing guys that had, like, Patrick Siakam was still a nobody at this point. You know, a lot of these guys.
Hold up. What'd you say? See, Patrick Siakam?
Yeah.
It's Pascal.
I am off my game this week, man. Dude, I'm surprised I knew what your name was, man. I have been so off my game this week.
Like the Jokic one I get because, like, you know, it's like you're trying to say his name, but you didn't even get his first name close to right.
Dude, I'm off, man. It's that is almost as bad when I used to call Bailey Falter Bradley Falter for like 3 weeks straight before someone caught me and called me out on it.
Yeah. Anyway, back to
call me out. It's okay. I suck at my job. I don't know names.
You got to get on the names.
Get off my show. You're gone. You're on the bed.
You got to work on the names, Phil. Listen, I'm never not going to call you out. You know, I always will. I'll always tell you how it is. But I just think with Nick Nurse, he's got.
Thanks, Marshawn. I appreciate it. Yeah. I appreciate it. You're bad from the show too, Marshawn.
With Nick Nurse, there's just something about the aura. He's kind of an asshole, which I think fits perfectly here. I think you kind of just need a guy who's kind of an asshole.
Right.
And I think Nick Nurse is that exactly that. He's always fighting for his guys. He's always fighting for his team. You know, you'll never hear him say it's a scheduled loss.
No, absolutely not.
You'll never hear him say that.
He'll call
exactly.
his players out for that.
I feel like
can he teach those players that heart? Or when he calls them out, are they going to shut down?
I think.
You know,
I think at first
they might. James being that asshole that shuts down and says, yo, you can't call me out like that. I'm James freaking Harden or Joel Embiid.
I think maybe at first, but I think over time they'll learn to adapt to it. Yeah, it's just I think Nick Nurse is the best option as a head coach. I really do. I think it's Nick Nurse. And I think the perfect scenario offseason for the Sixers is trading for Damian Lillard or Anthony Simons and getting Nick Nurse. And then you sign a guy like Trey Lyles, Harrison Barnes, Patrick Beverly, those kind of guys. Get a Patrick Beverly. Patrick Beverly's a guy who all he wants is people to try hard. And even though he may not be a superstar, everyone respects Patrick Beverly. You've never had a teammate that's hasn't respected Patrick Beverly.
Right. But okay, so Nick Nurse I think it seems like Nick Nurse is everybody's favorite for the job right now. But obviously he's going to get interviewed. He's already got, he's got 2 or 3 interviews already lined up. And I talked about it on Monday, I think it was, that it's just as much as the Sixers having to sell Nick Nurse on this team and this organization as it is Nick Nurse selling himself to this team. And I think there's a chance that we don't get Nick Nurse just because Daryl Morey can't sit down and be like, I have a game plan that's going to happen. Like there's
Mhm.
too many unknown and variables this off season with the Sixers team. And I think that's the case with the top three coaches, Boods, Monty Williams, and him. The Sixers got to do just as much selling as they do. If Mike D'Antoni interviews well, he could just get the job because nobody else wants him. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
some of these other lesser known interview candidates they're going to bring in. The name that I saw floating around yesterday was Frank Vogel. And
No.
I kind of sort of forgot
No.
about Frank Vogel
No.
to an extent. He just won an NBA title a few years ago in the bubble. You know what I mean?
No.
With LeBron. So he's coached under
Frank Vogel's kind of been an underwhelming head coach to me. He lost. I know he faced the Miami Heat LeBron teams, but that Pacers team was loaded, man, and he couldn't get the job done. They were good. George Hill was a good player. Paul George was nasty at that time. When he was wearing 24 and before he broke his leg, he was nasty.
And they made the conference finals.
Yeah, but he couldn't get the job
LeBron
done.
James. Like I mean, people don't question the guy. Like Jerry Sloan is one of the greatest coaches of all time from Utah, and it's not like he's not looked up because he never won a title, but he just ran into LeBron or Michael Jordan every single year.
Yeah, well, okay.
Again, I'm not comparing them directly. I'm just bringing up the counterpoint that sometimes you just have bad timing, and maybe he was bad timing. And then when he got good timing with LeBron and the Lakers, he won an NBA Finals.
LeBron teams get discredited for winning a title. Jordan teams get praised for winning titles. They're not treated the same. Those standards aren't treated the same way.
I'm trying to give the title more credit with LeBron.
Absolutely, and it's well deserved. He had a great year as a coach there.
Yeah,
I just don't think he's necessarily the best option.
He's also a local product. He's from Wildwood. You know what I mean? So he's a Philly area product.
The thing with Nick Nurse is the attraction to the Sixers is they have the set other than the Bucks, which I think Monty Williams is going to be the Bucks head coach.
Okay.
They have the best. They have the best player available. Outside of the Bucks, they're the closest to the championship of teams that have head coaching vacancies.
Really?
I think they're closer to Phoenix.
Over Kevin Durant?
Not because of Kevin Durant. I think because the Suns are missing a lot more than the Sixers are.
I don't know. I just think it's kind of crazy that we're sitting here and we're debating like, you've got literally 3 coaching openings with Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo available right now. And I think it's kind of crazy that you got 3 not just all-star, like elite MVP, all-time great players without head coaching.
I'm staying away from that Suns job. I wouldn't want it.
The Suns job? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I've talked about it on the show a lot, and I don't think anything's really come out. Something else was for them to fire Monty Williams at this point, 2 years removed from Coach of the Year and whatnot.
You were Coach of the Year last year.
It was a year ago, yeah. They just got Kevin Durant with what he play like 5 games before the playoffs, so no time to integrate the guy into the lineup. Chris Paul got hurt. I really don't think that there had to be something else going on because Monty Williams didn't get a fair shake there, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yes and no. I think teams get desperate when they're on the verge of when they have a championship caliber roster because the window isn't that big. When that window closes, you got to reset it all. Kevin Durant's getting old.
He is.
Chris Paul obviously isn't going to get the job done. DeAndre Ayton obviously isn't going to get the job done. The Suns are missing something, and they needed fresh blood in there. So, yeah, there probably was something else going on, but I just overall think that your window's small. You got to take advantage of every opportunity you have. The Sixers had a much bigger window than most teams did just because of the process. And
if the Sixers don't go get Dame Lillard, is their window closed?
I wouldn't say it's closed, but it's closing.
Yeah,
the window peaked with the Jimmy Butler year. That was the most open it ever was, and it's slowly been closing. And I think this was their second best shot at it. I think they were 1 win away from, I don't know necessarily winning, but getting to the conference finals. The issue is the Sixers haven't improved. They haven't improved. If they would have lost to the Celtics and lost in the conference finals to the Heat, we'd be having a whole different conversation here. Because it'd be like, all right, we made improvements. We finally made improvements.
So some more thoughts on improvements here. Here's one other Toby trade that I put together. It'll probably cost you Springer or maybe your 2029 draft pick or whatnot. It's Tobias Harris for Brandon Ingram. It's going to cost you financially speaking, it works straight up. But it's going to
Yeah,
cost you Jaden or is it Jaden or Jalen or
Jaden.
Jadaniel or
Jalen
Johnny,
McDaniels and Jaden
little
Springer.
Jimmy Springer, whatever, Jerry Springer, whatever.
R.I.P.
It works, and you get that small forward, which the Sixers are, scared to. The Sixers are scared to put, athletic, 3-and-D and scores, guys that can go get buckets. Brandon Ingram fills that role.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, from the Pelicans' point of view, with the whole Giannis thing, the whole situation with Giannis, and we don't know if he's ever going to actually play or whatever, it's tough for them to go out there and trade their best player.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just something there that I was thinking of. And then if you get Nick Nurse, then there's always the possibility of some of these trades with Toronto.
Yeah, no, I was thinking more, Toronto's going to be wanting to tear things down a bit.
You could go hypothetically and get Fred VanVleet. He is a free agent. I don't know how it would work because of the money situation with the Sixers or the lack thereof of money. There are options there as well. It just sounds like you're all in on the Dame Lillard, and it just doesn't matter either way.
I'm not all in on Dame Lillard. I just think if you want to avoid the pause year, that's your best bet. That's your best bet. If you want to, Dame Lillard is the best superstar that's going to be available. I don't see it. I don't know who else would become available.
Yeah, I just think that the pause year, the connotation of it, people think that if we don't go get Dame Lillard for Tyrese Maxey, we're going to win 28 games next year. And that's not the case.
I wouldn't say that.
If you just say, let's go back to this Dallas trade, because I think it makes sense for the team in a pause year scenario. And you get Reggie Bullock, you get Kleber, you get Bertans on this team to pair with Joel, Tyrese Maxey, Springer taking that next leap forward, which he will do. You have Nick Nurse as your coach. This team still wins 45 to 48 games.
Yeah, but there's two issues with that. A, I'm afraid a pause year turns into a rebuild.
But that's the thing. It's not.
It's not, but I'm afraid it could turn into it.
Yeah, I mean, it could if the pause year fails. Because let me remind you this way. If whatever we do next year, whether it's a pause year, go all in for Dame Lillard, whatever, that's it. That's the last year. There are those rumors of trading Joel Embiid starting to float around.
Yeah, and you know what? If we do a pause year, what stops Joel Embiid from being like, screw this, you guys don't want to compete, I want to go to Miami?
Is there any way Morey can flip Tobias and Melton for Patrick Siakam?
Ooh.
So now I've even got Marshawn saying Patrick Siakam.
I think he was saying that because of you.
I know he was. Marshawn, I love you, my man. And Eric, I'm glad you're checking in at work. I know you want to comment, but you can't because you're working right now. I appreciate it, my man. I'm a big Melton fan. I really am. I like what he could bring, and he's young. But, would Philly fans accept Siakam here? He kind of hates. Everybody hates him for what he did to Joel a few years ago. But I don't know. I think it's a valid trade. I would have to put it into the trade machine to see if it works financially. But yeah, I mean, it seems like it would help. Would a starting lineup of Tyrese Maxey, Siakam, Joel Embiid, and who else work?
I don't, because here's my thing. I don't think you get much better, but you're gonna get a guy who's motivated to play. You're gonna get a guy who's motivated to play. Mm-hmm. Again, Siakam's on an expiring contract. If things don't work out, you're gonna have a max contract slot.
Yeah.
So
and that's the thing. I see the Tobias for Siakam. I see the reasonings, but we want off of Tobias Harris to get off his contract expiring. Why would they swap one expiring contract for another? Like if Siakam had 2 or 3 years left, I would see it making sense for Toronto, so that they could get off the contract. But if it's just straight up, you're going to have to throw in Melton or Springer or whatnot to encourage, Toronto to take on Tobias Harris, even if it's just for half a year.
So the reason I think that they would be willing to do it is because they're going to be kind of tanking. I think that would more be what you're banking on.
Okay. I feel whoever takes Tobias does it this offseason versus at the trade deadline, they take Tobias so that they can then re-trade him at the deadline again and more, because that's what rebuilding teams would want to do. Siakam is a perfect fit with Embiid.
I think so. I
Does he
think,
really,
and also
does he
here's
really
the thing.
shoot the three enough and well enough, Siakam?
What?
Does he shoot the three well enough?
Yeah, he spreads the floor well. He's a
I
good
think of him
defender.
more when I think of Siakam. I think of the elbow jab push away from the free throw line for the fadeaway. I don't think of him as a 3-point shooter. Mitch saying he's a future MVP. I don't know about that. That is
He's a dog. He's good. He's a good player.
He ain't no MVP. Patrick
I don't
Siakam.
know. I don't. Mitch. That may be a little bit of exaggeration, but he's good, man. He's good. If they find a way to retain Harden and they get Siakam, I think that's amazing. You roll out there with a lineup of Harden, Maxey, Tucker, Siakam, Embiid.
So in that scenario, you're keeping Harden then.
If you can find a way to keep Harden too.
You're only
trade,
keeping
by the
Harden.
way, I checked that trade on the trade machine. That worked.
Which one? The Melton and Tobias?
The Melton and Tobias for Siakam.
Okay, it works. Okay. I mean, I'm not against it. The problem is if you keep James Harden, it's one thing. But I'm assuming all these scenarios, I'm assuming James Harden is not here because I don't think he wants to be here. Which then brings in the question: then who's your primary ball handler? So all these trades that we're talking about, everything we're doing, and that's why I go back to Colin Sexton's not a natural point guard, but that's why I go back to Utah. At least you're getting that power forward that can stretch the floor in Lauri Markkanen, but you're also getting a guy that you could pair in the backcourt with Tyrese Maxey to help in the ball handling category with Colin Sexton. Like you need somebody, but I want to go back to Marshawn's comment here. You just need somebody that could be the number one in the playoffs, and that's Dame Lillard. This comment, Marshawn, is the number one reason why you go get Dame Lillard at any cost.
Yeah.
Because he'll be that dog in the playoffs. Now, Dame Lillard also, the counterpoint to it, has never made it out of the second round either. There is that.
Yes, he has.
Has he? I thought
he went to the Western Conference Finals.
When was that?
The year before, after the bubble.
Really? I'm going to type his name in here while we're talking and see. But maybe he made it once to the NBA Finals then, or the Eastern Conference Finals. But anyway, that notwithstanding, the only thing is we just touched on it, and since you're on the show, I'll bring the topic up again, and that's the Joel Embiid potential, trade or not trade kind of scenario. And the thing is, you go all in for Dame Lillard, you're giving up your youth and your future in Tyrese Maxey. If it doesn't work out, you're literally right back to the rebuild and the process all over again, because then you have to trade Joel Embiid after this all-in scenario. You need it.
What about this a potential 3-team trade with you trade basically Maxey, Melton, Tobias, Springer, and you require Siakam and Dame. I don't know if the money would match up.
Yeah, I don't think we have enough. See, the thing is, the problem is a lot of these big trades we talk about always have to include draft picks. Yeah, and we don't have any of the draft picks. A lot of these teams, Portland, they get rid of Dame, they're going to want to rebuild. They're going to want a couple draft picks. Toronto, you already said, probably is going to go into rebuild mode. They're going to want draft picks. We don't have draft picks. That's what makes this offseason so difficult.
Yeah, you're right. We gave it all for James Harden.
Dame Lillard has never played more than 7 playoff games in a season. So I'm assuming that oh, no, never mind. I'm looking at, this is per series. So he did, 2019, he made the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Sorry, I sorted it the wrong way. It was by series.
I knew he was there. That's when I played the Warriors. That's the year the Warriors lost.
They got swept 4-0 by the Warriors that year in 2019.
Yeah.
So, but 14, they made it to the semis. 15, they got swept in the first round. 16 semis, 17 first round, 18 first round, 20 first round, 21 first round. So he's normally a first round and out guy. Not trying to say against it. Real quick though, on this Joel Embiid front, if Miami's making the finals, they're going to be playing Denver. I think the Miami, Joel, Jimmy Butler scenario, if they win the finals, is off the table because Miami doesn't need them. But if they lose in the finals and get dominated by, say, the Joker, maybe Jimmy does say, "Hey, I want my best buddy here."
Yes, but my also thing is they're gonna think we did all this without Tyler Hero. We got this far without Tyler Hero. I could see him because if you look at their season and if you look at their regular season, they were not a great team. So they could just look at it and be like, all right, we went on a great run, but we got to get better. Bam and Tyler Hero and a couple picks for Embiid.
So basically, I figured it's basically we've talked about this on the show a few times. It's basically Bam, Hero, Duncan, and like 2 first-round picks.
I don't hate that.
Duncan because of the money. Duncan Hero. They want to get off it. Duncan. I love Duncan Robinson. I've talked about on the show a lot about Daniel House staying ready and losing his role in the rotation and having nothing. And same thing, Duncan Robinson. Well, he was a DMP coach's decision for months, and he needed to be stepped up. He stayed ready, and he's had some really good games in the playoffs.
Like he's been a DMP coach's decision for 2 years.
Yeah, I love players that stay ready, and when their number's called, they lose their spot. They don't sulk like Korkmaz. Korkmaz looks like he sulks on a daily basis because he's out of the rotation, and he wouldn't be ready if he was called upon. Duncan Robinson, he stayed ready.
He did not. Philly, he has been terrible for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Like his
moments in the last couple games.
Sure, yeah. He's finally playing well and all great on him.
I'm saying Duncan Robinson being ready for that moment, even though he sucked before. Is what I'm saying.
That's fair.
Daniel House sucked early this season. He got benched because he sucked. And instead of sulking, he worked on his game so that when his number was called, he could provide a spark. Okay. Duncan Robinson, I'm not saying Duncan Robinson's a great player. I'm saying he sucked and lost his rotation spot. Furkan Korkmaz sucked, lost his rotation spot. Well, he should never have had a rotation spot to begin with. Duncan Robinson
like that.
Yeah, Duncan Robinson and Daniel House stayed ready. So when their number was called, okay, I'm ready to go. Put me in, coach. And I love that. Somebody's got to be the 15th guy on a team. The 15th guy better be ready in a moment's notice. And that's
I can agree on that.
Duncan Robinson. I saw him come in and knock down a couple shots the other day, and I'm like, dude, I didn't even know this guy was in the rotation anymore. And I'm like, that's what I like to see. And that right there is Heat culture. And that's what the Sixers are missing. No?
Okay. Yeah.
One other Joel Embiid thing I want to bring you in here on, is the Knicks. That's the rumor. The Knicks would be looking at him. What would you want from the Knicks?
Everything.
Would you even be willing to trade him to the Knicks, knowing you've got the same thing with the Heat? Would you want the Heat's different because you got the Jimmy Butler and Joel might demand to play together, but if you're just going to trade him, and the Knicks, they have Hart. Well, Hart's a free agent this year, I think, or a restricted free agent. You got Hart, you got Brunson. You wouldn't be trading for Joel Embiid and giving up Brunson because you'd want to pair them together, but you would need Brunson in return.
They would probably get Randall, Hart, and a load of draft picks. Listen, here's the thing. If you trade Joel Embiid, you're probably going to end up going into a rebuild at some point. So I don't really think it matters where he goes. But I know what you mean. You don't want to trade him to the New York Knicks. So I don't think they would.
It would just be frustrating for that right there. Anyway, we know that this has got to. We lost Cole's picture there. We lost Cole completely there. Interesting. But anyway, I don't know. Oh, there he is.
I don't know what happened there.
You're an amateur. You're still in college.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know what you did there, but keep your mic away from your mouth a little bit. You got all of a sudden your mic volume went like through the roof.
All right.
Don't mess with too much. I don't want you to break break anything or anything. Anyway, I want to move on for a little bit here from this Sixers talk. We'll keep talking Sixers all week, guys. We'll keep talking the same topics tomorrow. I'll do more research and find more trade possibilities for this team for tomorrow to talk about on the show. But I want to switch to football for a little bit, and then we'll see if there's time, and then we'll get into the Phillies at the end. Some new rule changes were announced yesterday in the NFL. One being, obviously, the third string quarterback can dress and we're losing Cole again. That's why I shouldn't have told him about his microphone. The third quarterback dressing and not affecting the roster. Basically, it's going to be called the 49ers rule. It basically is because of what happened. Surprisingly, the 49ers weren't the one that proposed this rule change. And I think it's a smart thing. Basically, I mean, it would have helped the Eagles in, 2019, when Josh McCown had a play on a basically a torn hamstring when Carson Wentz got hurt in that game, and then he had to come in. But the main rule change that jumped out at me, there was actually a proposed rule change that was really, really stupid. Back again.
Yep, we fixed it.
Amateur hour here.
Yeah.
So we're talking the rule changes. The 49ers third string quarterback rule. It's a smart rule. It does not matter one way or another. It was actually, surprisingly, everyone assumes it was the 49ers. The 49ers weren't the team that proposed this rule change. I think it was the Colts that proposed it, which is really surprising. But it does help. I was just saying, Cole, it would have helped the Eagles because in 2019, when Carson Wentz goes down, then McCown goes down, and he's got to play on a bad hamstring because we don't have a third stringer. I don't think that even really needs to be debated, other than the fact that it is what it is.
Yeah, I have no issue.
Creating an extra roster spot on game day.
Yeah, anyone who has an issue with it's weird. It's weird to not want a team to have more players that can play. I have no problem with it. Like,
it's not even like the person could play. Once you put him in, somebody else has to be, one of your other quarterbacks has to be deactivated as soon as he comes in.
Yeah.
So if you came in because I got hurt, I would have to become deactivated for the rest of the game. So I mean,
it's great because especially with the way people like concussions and everything, and how easy it is to be pulled out of a game because of concussion-like symptoms, especially for quarterbacks. I'm fine with it. Cool. It's perfectly okay with me.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to get into this Thursday night football flex rule change. And I think it is one of the most dumb, retarded, awful rule changes where you can now flex out games on Thursday night football with a 28-day notice, which supposedly 28 days is enough to change schedules and stuff like that. First and foremost, supposedly someone responded to us on Twitter, Cole. I don't know if you fact-checked it, that legally they're not allowed to play on Friday nights or Saturdays, the NFL. I hate Thursday night football. I think it's terrible. It's bad for the players to play on 3 days rest like that. It's just poor quality football on a weekly basis, Thursday night football. I hate it. But to offer this flex thing, where now teams can play multiple Thursday night football games if you want to flex them out, I think it's such a bad thing for football, and it's going to create so many issues with teams coming down the playoff stretch that now all of a sudden they just played a tough game in week 14, and now they got to go switch to, which was the Sunday game, to a Thursday night game. I think it's bad. I think it's bad.
I always said Thursday night football should come after your bye week.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
I think if you do it after your bye week, you avoid the issue with it. You avoid the only issue with Thursday night football. Either way, the NFL never, even if it was legal, if it's whatever, I don't know.
No, I didn't check that guy's tweet or anything like that.
I didn't either. But I know the NFL will never do that because it would cost them too much money.
I love the idea of Friday night football or more Saturday games.
Okay, Friday wouldn't cost them as much. Saturday would cost them too much money. They would lose.
Cost them money
because people in the SEC and the big-time Big Ten schools, they care about college football more than the NFL.
Yeah, but really, what NFL franchises are really, in Alabama? The Alabama guys might not tune into the NFL. Well, you know what? There's no team in Alabama anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
but
it's not really going to affect them that much.
Falcons, Texans.
I don't buy.
Dolphins.
I think you would see a lot more people tune into NFL football than
Jaguars. I think they might. I'm not saying that
a week. We're talking one game a week. Take the Thursday night football game and put it on Saturday night, or take the Thursday night football game and put it on Friday night.
They
because
can't.
you're protecting your players that way.
A lot of these companies already have deals in place where they're playing games on, like Fox, CBS,
I know.
all ESPN, all have Saturday night football, college football deals that they're locked in on.
Well, Thursday night is an Amazon Prime deal. So why can't Amazon Prime, just move their games to Friday night?
Sure, they can, but now you're talking about something that you already have to pay for. Now you're talking about a pay-per-view game on Saturday night when you're already going to lose viewership because of college football.
I don't know. I just hate the concept of Thursday night football. But on the flip side, with this flex thing, it's not like flexing a 1:00 game to 8:00 on Sunday. Could you imagine, Cole, you as a fan, you bought tickets to an Eagles game on the road, okay? And the Eagles are one of the teams that travel really, really well. I mean, you see it all the time. Eagles fans at every stadium.
Mhm.
You buy tickets to an Eagles game, say, I don't know, who do we play late in the season on the road? Kansas City. I don't know. We play them in November, on the road. Say you bought tickets to go see the Kansas City Chiefs Eagles in KC, Arrowhead Stadium. And then 4 weeks, 4 weeks, because it's got to be 4 weeks, 4 weeks before the game, you find out where it got moved to Thursday night. And now you got to change your flight. You got to change your hotel reservation. Or you got to make sure you can get off from work and adjust things. Like, is the NFL not thinking about the fans in attendance and what this does to them by flexing games?
Again, they care about their money. That's all they care about.
I know, but you're trying to grow the game, and the game is growing exponentially. But they're still trying to grow it more and more every single year. This move specifically hurts the NFL.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Or hurts the NFL fan.
It does in a way. Yeah. Well, college football is so much better than the NFL. It's ridiculous.
That is such a load of BS.
No, it is so much better than the NFL.
No, it is not.
The atmosphere is a million times better.
No, I hate college football. I really don't understand why people love college football so much.
What do you hate about it?
It's not as good of a quality of game. Like, there's more talent in the NFL than in college.
Of course there's going to be, because they're on a professional level, but that's what makes it awesome. That's what makes it awesome. It's you literally never know what's going to happen. You have that. The atmospheres are unmatched. College football stomps the NFL in atmosphere. There is nothing like a whiteout or a game in Death Valley and LSU. Nothing compares to those two.
But it's different. But that's a little different because of the college atmosphere and the college kids.
Absolutely, like that. But that's part of it. That's part of it. That's part of it.
I don't know.
And also, you go back to what we talked about earlier about heart. You know how sometimes you're like, oh, you see NFL play. What? No, it does not. A Southern thing. The greatest.
Johnny, this is going to be my favorite part of you joining the show. You commenting in.
Johnny, the greatest single game atmosphere in college football is in Pennsylvania.
Johnny, isn't the USFL Philadelphia Stars better than college football?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my. You want to?
Johnny is a huge USFL fan, and he always talks about.
Well, we'll see if the USFL's around in 5 years.
5 years? I don't even give it 5 years. So
the Georgia Bulldogs would beat the Philadelphia Stars.
Oh man, everybody!
I love the Eagles. The Eagles are my favorite team in all of sports. I like them more than I love Penn State. But I don't know if it's because here's the difference. It might be a Philly thing because there's no real college football.
And that is why I'm not a college football fan.
That's fair.
It's because I was told when I was a kid, well, you got to be a Penn State fan. I'm like, well, why? I can't go to a Penn State football game. They're 4.5 hours away from Philadelphia. Why am I supposed to be a Penn State football fan? Like, there is no, then everybody, you go to high school and they're like, you got a Notre Dame fan or you got an Alabama. I'm like, why'd you just randomly pick a college to support? I want to support my hometown team. Then, a couple years back, well, more than a couple years back, Temple started to slightly trend up a little bit in the college football circle. And I'm like, all right, if Temple can turn their football program into an actual regular powerhouse, maybe it would give you a hometown team to get behind. But they couldn't keep it.
Phil, I do need you to back me up on this one. You need to back me up on this. You know me. You know I'm a college football guy, and I spend my Saturdays. You know me. First of all, my school I just finished at didn't even have college football. And it also didn't even have – it had like 6 girls in the entire school. Went to a community college. I spent my Saturdays sitting down and watching college football all day. 12
guys, Cole's, he might be young, but he knows his sports. And he does his betting stuff and stuff like that. So he watches a lot of football to put his betting content out on it.
And listen, I love the NFL. This isn't a knock on the NFL. College football is my favorite sport out of anything, though.
I've never seen Cole get riled up on a show before. I think this is a ride.
That's not true. You've seen me get riled up a million times. That's what you bring me on for.
It's so funny, man. I'm just gonna just do Cole getting fired up. I'm just gonna clip out the part where you just stormed off and put soundtrack music behind it. and what made this happen on Trending in the AM? And see what the
I
response
think
are to that.
we'll go back. You know, I'm not at Penn State. I don't go to a school that big. But
A
when
lot
you're
of
talking
people
about,
on the show, Cole, make fun of the fact that I refuse to use words like mid and drip because I'm too old to use those words.
it
So
sounds weird when you say it. It sounds weird when you say it. It does. But
Cole, college football is mid though.
all right. Calm down, Phil. Don't ever say that again in your life. It just doesn't sound right coming out of your mouth. Yeah. That's me too. I love the Eagles more than I love any other team. But I love the sport of college football more than I love the sport of the NFL. But I think that's also an environment thing for me. I grew up basically equal distance from Philly and State College. My dad went to State College. My dad loves Penn State football. One of the best memories of my life was sitting in this exact basement I'm in now, watching Penn State win the Big Ten championship against Wisconsin with my dad. So I don't know if it's a sentimental thing or whatever, but college football will always be superior to me than the NFL for atmosphere, for just, you don't get the moments in the NFL that you do with, you don't get Auburn returning a 109-yard missed field goal all the way back. And next thing you know, you got the students and all the fans and whatever storming the field. You don't got a block field goal wobbling in for Tennessee to beat Bama. And next thing you know, you got people storming the field. I mean, you don't have the Appalachian State. You don't see teams like Appalachian State knocking off Michigan.
I'm gonna say you do get more. How do I phrase this? In just the regular games, not even the playoffs, like the college football playoffs. Just like week to week, you get more iconic moments in college football. Like you were just talking about that. I thought about the Alabama Auburn game where Alabama took the lead and Auburn ran the kick return back.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Was that a playoff game or a title game?
Yes, because whoever won that went to the SEC title.
Yeah, exactly. And so you get more of those kind of iconic moments for sure. And I will say, and this is part of why I want Saturday football for the NFL. Sundays, you party too hard on a Sunday for an NFL game, then you got to work or go to school on Monday. It sucks. Saturday tailgating is much better than Sunday tailgating for the average fan. But, and this is to you, Cole, I won't lie. I hate the cold weather. I really do. But there's there's three things on my sports bucket list probably. And one of them is attending and tailgating a Penn State whiteout game. I mean, it's on the bucket list. It's got to be. Just the atmosphere does look exciting. And especially if it's snowing in Penn State area on, a whiteout game. I mean, it would have to be pretty intense.
Honest question. Have you watched the whiteout at all?
Yeah, I've watched it many times. I still watch. I don't like college football. I still watch it. I mean, it's not.
You can feel like it's a different feeling from watching it on TV. When you're sitting there and the first play of the game, the crowd is so loud that Michigan can't call their audible and they have to call a timeout. First play of the game. Yeah. It's just an unmatched environment. But I will not argue if you are looking just from a pure football, just you want to watch the best, most talent, the best overall product, then NFL is your thing, and I have no argument with that. I have no disagreement with that. But if you want everything else that surrounds football, that's what makes me like college football more. Everything else that surrounds it.
But anyway, back to the point. We got off a tangent here. We were going to talk rule changes in the NFL, and we end up
That's
on.
What you told me happens. That's how you told me this is how Trending in the AM works these days.
It works. We go on whatever happens. It's for the people, by the people, because everybody else's opinions actually matter. And guys, we got 8 likes on this video today. This is Cole. No offense. Worst viewed show, in 6 weeks. It's probably your fault. Make sure we're smashing that like button there, guys.
How many times have we done shows together and you said, "Oh wow, this has been one of my better viewed shows"? A lot.
Yeah, not this week. Not at all. I've been getting 20, 25 likes a show. We are at 8 likes on this show today.
I'll be back. We'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll be back. Don't worry.
We'll have to run it back. But anyway, Thursday Night Football flex, bad idea, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't like it at all.
So they did propose one other rule change that they proposed lots of rule changes. And a lot of them don't get voted and passed. There was one that did not get passed that I wrote down just because I just thought it was dumb. That you can now fair catch on kickoffs outside of the goal end zone, and they put the ball on the 25-yard line. So if a kick doesn't reach the end zone and you want to fair catch it on the 4-yard line, that they would just put the ball at the 25 as if it went into the end zone and it was a touchback. So basically, any kickoff that you fair catch is automatically a touchback. And it didn't get voted or approved. But I saw that they wanted to do that. And I had to write it down because I thought it was
stupidest thing I've ever heard. Stupidest thing I ever heard.
Well, some teams thought it was a valid rule to push, and they tried.
That's so stupid because you can't just fair catch anything and get it at the 25. Where you fair catch it at is where you get the ball. If you don't want to fair catch at that spot, catch the ball and run it, or let the ball at the ground and hope it rolls in the end zone.
All the kickoff rules and punt return rules have been changed to protect the players.
Did you say on kickoffs or punts?
Kickoffs.
Okay, because if they did it for punts, I would probably go on another tirade because that would be a whole separate thing. Because punts are one of my favorite. This is weird. I love punts. I love because that is the most you never know what's going to happen.
Have you ever tried punting a football on a football field?
Oh yeah.
Are you capable of doing it?
I mean, do I punt it better than if you grab a random person? Probably, but am I good at it? Not really.
Yeah, I'm not good at it. I mean, it's not as easy as it looks. Like, no. I actually tried it a few times, and I was able to get the ball 20 yards down the field or whatever. But it's a really hard thing to do. Like, just a punter, like they're not real football players, punters. But it is a pretty difficult skill set, especially when you got defensive linemen barreling down on you.
Yeah, and these guys, their ability to kick it and spin it perfectly where it sticks at the 1 yard line is absurd. It's absurd. I love the.
We're definitely not talking XFL, just so you know.
I love it. I just love with punch. You never know what's going to happen on the play.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so real quick, Phillies last night. We didn't get to the Phillies today. We're almost out of time on the show. Maybe we'll bring Phillies back in the conversation tomorrow a little bit more.
That would be a great thing to talk about, Phil, because I'm going to the game tonight.
You're going to the game tonight.
Boots on the ground, baby.
Yeah, you got Matt Strahm starting tonight for the Phillies.
Yeah.
Probably for an inning or so. Should have never been pulled from the bullpen. The team sucks, Cole.
Yeah, terrible.
They suck. And I've been saying it before, Rob Thompson is not the man. He is going to be the man for the year, but he's not the man to lead this team. This team is lifeless, energyless, and just has no fight or desire whatsoever. Sloppy plays, errors, no effort on the field whatsoever. I'm already tapped out on this team this year.
I will say there's two things with it. We're at the point where we need to start acknowledging that they're playing poorly, but we're not at the point where we need to sell the ship on the season because it is a long season. We're not even at Memorial Day yet.
Mm-hmm. But you don't have the option to fire your manager to spark this team like last year. That's what gave us the spark last year. The management.
It was, but I also could say that, this is once I feel like this team we haven't been able to catch fire yet. I feel like every time we start to get going, we hit a dud. Somebody gets hurt. We have a poor outing. I think the Phillies at some point are going to go on a very, very, very long winning streak, similar to what we saw last year. And I just think, I think it's going to be on the back of Bryce Harper. I think it's going to be on the back of Kyle Schwarber. I think, Kyle Schwarber, his month's coming up. It's a big month for Kyle Schwarber.
Because if he doesn't hit 15 home runs in the month of June, you might as well just sell the ship on Kyle Schwarber.
Because if he pops off, this team's going to – the Phillies are missing – the Phillies just need one guy. The Phillies haven't had one of their superstars catch fire yet. They haven't had Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. Castellanos has played well this season. But one of the big three guys that you're paying all that money to has got to catch fire. And I think it's going to happen at some point.
Trey Turner has been so underwhelming. And somebody actually, I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if it was Tim Kelly or one of the Twitter.
If you bring up this World Baseball Classic stat.
No. Somebody put the stats of Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, JT Realmuto, all the big signings through their first 45 games in a Phillies uniform, get the big contract from the Phillies, then come to the Phillies. I think it was like 44 or 40. It was either Tim Kelly or Seidman, one of the bigger, beat reporters for the Phillies. Trey Turner's right there. Outside of, JT Realmuto, nobody hit it over 250 in their first 45
games. You know what? Castellanos has turned out fine. I think Bryce Harper's he's turning out
JT had like a 275 batting average, so he was kind of like the anomaly. But for the most part, every one of these guys, their first third of the season coming to Philly was a train wreck. So didn't we just make love to the Cubs?
We did.
won 2 out of 3.
I mean, that's your goal. You win series. That's all you can. If you go 2 out of 3, that's a successful series. You can't be mad at that.
Yeah, I mean, if they you can't be mad at that if they followed up and win 2 out of 3 this week. And then
No, if they there's still a chance.
Which they lost last night. So they won 2 in a row, then they lost again. So if they come out and win the next 2 against the Diamondbacks, sure. But if they lose 2 out of 3 this week against the Diamondbacks, it kind of renders it useless. You're still back even.
You're not wrong. We'll see. We'll see.
I don't have the confidence in this team doing what you're saying, Cole, and that's rattling off an 8-game winning streak, a 9-game winning streak, or winning 15 or 16 games. I just don't have it right now.
I mean, I do. I think this team still is still very capable. I still think we're gonna have but here's the thing. I think we're not gonna be these killers like we were necessarily in the last on the playoffs in the regular season. We're not a team that can go out there and be a top tier team in baseball. We're too hot and cold. This team is going to probably be in the wild card again. They're going to be sitting there, and it's going to be like, all right, can you guys go on? Can you guys get hot again? You know what? And you know what? We had guys step up a lot last year in the postseason, and I think it can happen again. But we got to get there first. So the Phillies just got to focus on winning games. It's still early. We're right around the time where we turned it around last year. Let's see if we can do it again this year.
We're going to wrap up Trending the AM right there on Philadelphia Sports Network for my man Cole Thompson.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Phil. Hey, Johnny, Eric, can you guys do me a favor? Tell Phil to have me on more, man.
These guys get upset. When Johnny, like the last time I had a guest on, Johnny put 4 comments in the comment section. Oh, great, another guest. These guys love to just talk.
Hey, look, I can't click it, but there's a comment. Johnny said he loves me, and I love you too, Johnny. We love you too, Johnny.
Where does it say it?
Pull up a bit.
No, there we go. We love you, Cole.
There you go. I'm definitely their favorite of your guests.
Like, no offense, like Johnny, you don't know Cole really. You don't know us.
Read that.
No offense, Cole. Johnny could be Cotter. Like, that's the kind of person Johnny is in this comment.
Read that. See, this is the issue. You bring on guests that don't interact with the other viewers, with your viewers. Exactly. You don't bring on the guests that don't interact with your supporters.
This show is about the viewers. It's not my show.
I know.
The goal of this show is to be for you guys. This is why the tagline has become where your opinions actually matter. And I really believe in that. Somebody said, my drip game's really good. I'm going to zoom in. You guys can see my new shirt. It's linked in the bio. My site says support local podcasters. You can get that shirt there on that site. I think it's a great shirt, but it's also a great phrase because us local people, the small people do this every single day. Support is necessary. And you can support by liking the video, sharing it out, shouting from the rooftops. Trending the AM on Philadelphia Sports Network is the place to be. Eric saying you the man now.
You the man too, Eric. You the man too. I hope to see you guys again soon.
Yeah, maybe. I'll think about it. Everybody, for Philadelphia Sports Network, for Cole Thompson, I am Phil Stiefel. We'll be back tomorrow morning. More Sixers talk, more Eagles talk, more Phillies talk, whatever you want to talk about. For everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.